Hi, everybody. This is Marketa. I am the Executive Director of ANA California, and I am joined by Roxane Gould, our fantastic lobbyist. Hi, Roxane. Hi, Roxane. And we have a quick legislative update. We know that we promised you update at the end of February, but there were so many bills that Roxane and I had to cover and had to read that we took a couple of extra weeks to get back to you. But before we get there, Roxane, so there are first bills are being heard in committees, right? This week, something is finally started.
Right. Well, and the Senate actually has had some committees, policy committees, not very many. The Assembly decided they weren't going to have any until April. There was a possibility of one committee being held the 28th of March, but it looks unlikely. There's just been a focus on the budget because we started the year, well, last year we had the budget deficit. We started the year with what we thought was a surplus, and good news. It looks like we're even like almost $4 billion over the estimated surplus we thought we were going to have. So some of the stress about the budget is going to subside, and irrespective of that, they have to start focusing on policy bills. So that's going to start happening in April for sure.
Fantastic. So we know that that actually a couple of the bills we're going to be talking today, that they are being heard tomorrow or Wednesday on a couple of committees. So so we have we highlighted 5 bills. 3 of them are working priority bills, and 2 we are kind of watching what's going to happen because of the political situation, because of the recall, and because of other variety of aspects. So we'll cover that. So Roxane, the first bill that we have II on is AB 26. I immediately forgot the name.
562.
Yeah, yes, thank you. A 562 from Assemblyman Evan Lowe, and that's mental health services for healthcare providers. Roxane, do we know anything more about that?
Well, I mean, we know it's in the Assembly Business and Professions Committee, and they are one of the committees that was potentially having a hearing on the 28th. It's not, but they will have hearings in April. Particularly in light of COVID, and maybe specifically because of COVID, mental health has elevated itself to one of the top priorities, whether it's mental health for healthcare providers, mental health for care for students. It's a top priority issue that Legislature is trying to figure out how to get their arms around and help people heal from an incredibly stressful year.
Yeah, so while we don't necessarily know any more information, it just states that when this program is ready, then licensees can apply and be part of the mental resilience program. We don't necessarily know what it is or how it looks like, but we do believe that it's really important, especially after the year we've had and the strains that nurses and nursing and other healthcare providers and professionals were under. We really support this, and we just want to know what's going to happen. So we are trying to get a meeting with Assemblyman Lowe and just see what's going on there. Next bill we are supporting is AB 285.
Yep, there you go.
And that's Assemblyman Holden, and that is actually a bill that that California School Nurses Organization is sponsoring and authoring, and they're working with Assemblyman Holden. And it would state that California State Department of Education would create a position for a school nurse consultant. Roxane, when is that being heard? It's being heard this week.
That one is March 24th.
March 24th. We submitted a support letter where we included 2 most important arguments: that California is one of 10 states without having a school nurse on emergency response at the state level emergency response system, and then also that California has so little school nurses, that we don't have that many school nurses, that this position overseeing and helping with new mandates and really representing the voice and the interests of school nurses, and therefore pupils at schools, it's really important. So we submitted a support letter. Roxane's going to be doing Me Too at the Education Committee. So that's AB 285. Next one is SB 380 from Senator Eggman.
Yes, yes, compassion. Yes, that's right.
and it is a continuation of the End of Life Act from 2016. We were strong supporters of that act that would allow and would assure that patients have access to all the relevant and necessary information so they can make the best decision for their lives and their families. And so it's the end of life care. And in 2016, the bill had 5-year sunset, correct?
Right.
Correct.
Right. So it's basically oftentimes either bills that are controversial or bills that they're not certain of what the outcome is going to be. What will the results of the bill be? They'll put a sunset on it so that if 4 years, 5 years, whatever the time frame legislature selects, comes and goes, and they determine that really didn't do anything, or that did things we didn't want it to do, they'll just let it pass away and no longer be law. And so this bill is removing that sunset so that the law can continue and stay in place.
Yeah, so the 2016 bill was very clear in mandatory reporting to the state legislature on the number of prescriptions written, on the number of applications. And so we actually supported, we wrote a letter to the author pointing out to between 10 to 15 bureaucratic steps process for these, terminally ill patients. So we are working with Compassion and Choices and the author, just trying to see if we can make some of the safeguards and some of the steps, if we can combine them or if we can make them easier for patients to access this service, this care. Roxane, when is that being heard? It's this week again.
That's the same here, the 24th of March again.
Again, so we submitted a letter and Roxane will testify at it's Senate Health Committee, correct?
Right.
And so these are the top 3 priorities that we're working on. Then there is AB 410 from Assemblyman Fong, and that's the Ecompact licensure bill. Roxane, what is going on with Republican authors?
Well, and this is an issue that's been debated in multiple states. I think it's been debated in California for some time as well. But this is a Republican author with a highly controversial, contentious bill in a legislature that has a supermajority of Democrats. Every constitutional officer is a Democrat. So given all of those factors, my crystal ball is saying, it doesn't stand a very good chance, and it may not even receive a hearing as a result of the controversial nature of a Republican author's bill.
Republican author, a supermajority Democrat, California. Okay, so that's why we are, we're waiting. See, we are communicating with the author. We are hearing from our coalition partners, and everybody is concerned that it's a Republican who will be introducing this bill, which we know that the California Nurses Association is very strongly opposed to, and the division of political power in California, and so that's why we're just taking watch position because we want to know what's going to happen. Is it going to be even assigned to a committee? We'll see how it goes. So we are watching. And then last but not least is AB 1400 from Assemblyman Kalra, and Roxane, that is the single payer and healthcare for all, which 2 different things, right? Healthcare for all is great, and we all need to be working on it towards single payer. Look at what DMV or the VA, how they are doing if government takes over industry, but that's just that's just the reality. But Roxane, we know that there is this a huge recall for Governor Newsom, and I know that today they certified the majority, or they certified the amount of signatures they needed, and there's a connection, right, between the Newsom recall and AB 1400. Would you just talk about it a little bit?
Sure. And with regard to the bill, it's conceptually it's great. We'd love everyone to have health care, but the last debate on this topic pitted the Speaker of the Assembly against the administration, because the reality is the concept is great. We'd support the outcome they're going after. You need to fund it. We need to figure out how you're going to pay for this kind of an objective. And so all eyes are on Governor Newsom. He's definitely feeling a great deal of pressure as a result of this recall effort. For many months, it was anticipated they wouldn't get enough signatures. And so now, since it appears as if they have gotten enough signatures, there will be a recall initiative on the ballot, 99%. And so the governor's, he's choosing his moves very wisely. And so if he decides to not support it or to stay on the sidelines, does he garner the ire of the very powerful and well-funded supporters of the effort? Or if he decides to go all in on something that is really not fundable, does that hurt him from a credibility standpoint? So, he's between a rock and a hard place. And then in between the rock and the hard place, you have a handful of Republicans and Democrats, I'd say sharks swimming in the water around him to figure out, can they position themselves to be on the ballot to be the governor that replaces him if and when he is recalled. So it's been more than 20 years since we last recalled a governor, but it's 2021 is starting to look as surreal as 2020 for different reasons.
Mm-hmm. Because the last time, right, let's remind everybody that last time the single payer was up in California legislature was SB 562, right, and that was then Senator Ricardo Lara. And so back then, 2018, I think, and so the price tag of this single payer proposal was $400 billion. Roxane, what is the budget of whole fifth largest economy of the world, California? What is the California budget?
Well, at that time, it was just over 100 billion. I believe now we're closer to 200 billion. But even if it's 200 billion, 300 billion, you're twice, if not 50% more than the entire state of California budget. Every single state employee, every state building, every state service, all of that. It would cost more than all of that for this one initiative. And so it's just, there's a problem in search of a solution, and this is not it, and as far as I can tell.
Yeah, because if, we are the fifth largest economy in the world and our budget is $200 billion, or maybe 210 or 215 billion dollars. And now this one proposal is costing $400 billion. Actually, it was in 2018. So it's going to be a little bit more. And so that's why we're having a little bit issue with this, because the idea is great. We all want, all our communities and patients to have access to care, but we also need to have, sustainable funding and the implementation. And this is, unless we hear and we read and, there are discussions of how that's going to be done, I think it's really difficult to push AB 1400 throughout the
without a funding source, for sure.
Funding for okay. Anything else? So these are so let's cover what we talked about. AB 562, which is the mental health care, the mental resiliency program for healthcare providers who were treating COVID-19 patients.
Second,
AB 285 focused on State Department of Education establishing a position for school nurse consultant. Third was
SB 380.
Senator Eggman, sunsetting, or not sunsetting, removing sunset.
Exactly.
Removing sunset from the existing End of Life Option Act. Fourth was AB 410. Republican Assemblyman Fong, right? The Ecompact license, with Republicans having very little political power or capital in Sacramento. And the last but not least was AB 1400 from Assemblyman Kalra, single payer healthcare for all.
Right.
Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye to our members?
Only that we're entering the first set of policy hearings in a 2-year session. And so, we're at the beginning of the marathon. These bills are going to morph, they're going to be amended. And to the extent you see them and you view them as having impact on nursing and you think we should be weighing in and commenting, that will add to how those bills are amended and what they look like at the end. So if you want to weigh in, contact us, tell us how you think it could be fixed, tell us where you see problems, because now is the time for us to start having our voice heard and being a part of the policy debate process.
Yeah, and we will also create in our legislative tracking software, we will create an AC priority list where we're gonna put these 5 bills there. Well, when we say we, I mean Roxane. And so we will have these 5 bills there, and then we will share it with the Leg Committee. And then, this is how we will continue to update you every week or every 2 weeks or so, just share with you the folder. So you see what's going on. I'm trying to keep our communication and the support letters to actually add comments on the specific bills. So, you would have access to it. Other than that, that our lobby day, RN day at the Capitol virtual is coming up on the 12th of April. We are nearing the very maximum capacity that we have, and we're very happy for West Coast University to allow us to use their much greater platform. And on the Tuesday, on the 13th of April, we have our General Assembly and our conference starting at 12 noon. You can go to our website or to our social media to register. We all look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much, Roxane. Thank you for your time, for your expertise, and for representing us. And we both thank you, our members, for your continued dedication and involvement and support of this organization. We could not do this without you. So thank you very much. Take good care of yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Stay safe out there. Bye.